Now you can't see him. Bye.
Hello everyone. I'm not sure if you're able to hear me or not. We've had some troubles today. We're very sorry about these. It's possible that a Martian has stolen our satellite. It's possible that the thick bank of clouds that covers Djuma at the moment has killed our signal. It's possible that Eugene and Tara have just decided that they'd like the day off. We just don't know really. But rest assured, what Brent and I have done is drive the reserve flat. And you'll be pleased to know that you've missed absolutely nothing. Andrew and I have found one waterbuck, two Impala, and one duiker running at a great speed north into Buffelshoek. So unfortunately, game-wise, not a lot going on. So fortunately for you, you don't seem to be missing much. Not really sure what else I can say, save but to tell you we are working on the problem. We miss hearing from you this morning. And I know that I've just heard Vium, who is now helping Eugene and Tara. I heard him say that it might be possible for us to go live a bit later with some slightly substandard or lower resolution images. Whether that will happen or not, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure whether you can hear me, and if you aren't just looking at me waving my hands about the place. We are now going to carry on looking for animals on the off chance that we do go live, and in so doing we will ensure the best possible entertainment for you as and when we go live. I must confess I feel like a bit of a fool standing here talking to what looks like a bank security camera, especially given that I don't know if you can hear me or not. So that was Brent, obviously, as you saw. He is standing the other side of the dam, and yes, well, I suppose that's about it. Right. Retrieve my gloves and press on. Andrew, there's a woodlouse in this dung.
We can go live. Tara's saying on the radio.
Apparently we can go live.
He's saying we can go live as soon as he's back in the radio.
I'm back. Shall I do an intro from here? Remember, you may now start to send your comments, your questions, hashtags, Safari Live, questions at WildEarth.tv and email. There we are. I'm not sure how much of that ridiculous performance you managed to hear, but it's very nice to be back live with you. Good morning. Welcome to Wild Earth. Welcome to Djuma and Arathusa. 1,500 hectares of a chilly Kruger National Park this morning, and cloudy, so not a lot of sun going on, but the sun is peeping out behind the clouds. And we've had some incredible light this morning, so I'm really sorry that you missed it. Remember, please you may now start to send through your comments and your questions, hashtag Safari Live, or questions at wildearth.tv on the email. On camera today we have Andrew, who you can probably see through the Djuma cam if you look at that. On the other vehicle we've got Brent and Jeandre, our new camera guru. And basically, he and I have driven most of Djuma this morning, and on these cloudy days what tends to happen is that the animals stay in thick bush and don't do a great deal. So I'm going to head down towards Treehouse Waterhole, where I haven't been today, and see what we can find there. Any questions you have, fire them through, any comments. I must apologize again for our lateness, but some things are just out of our hands. And a big thank you to Tara and Eugene and Vium, who have been working like navvies off in the control room to fix things. I'm not sure exactly what they did. Those the machinations of the technical team are beyond the scope of my mind and cognitive abilities. Right, on we go. Let's see what we can find. Found some male lion tracks just around here, and I'd be interested to know if any of the zoomies managed to see anything in the coming across the dam wall or the other side of the dam wall last night. I think probably very early last night, and they then crossed into Buffelshoek. But that's the only tracks I've found, I'm afraid. So I think the temperature is probably about 14, 15 degrees Celsius, which is probably sitting at around 65, no, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's unusual for this time of the day. It definitely means that there's a front that's come through, and it tends to make things a little bit chillier. But if you look around this time of the day, we're normally starting to sort of, the light's starting to blow out a bit, and while it's quite flat at the moment, there is some beautiful contrast from the clouds and the sun coming through them. And I'm very sorry, you might find that the picture is slightly different than it is from normal, and that's because of the technical hitches. We're not streaming in high definition, we're probably streaming in slightly lower than standard definition at the moment, so if your picture is a little bit less than the quality you used to, that's why, I'm afraid. Hyena. Isn't that wonderful? I think we're going to turn and follow. When they run like that, they're normally on the hunt for something. Oh, quite a wet nose. See where he or she goes. I mean, that's very unusual sort of activity for this time of the day for a hyena. It's just off to the right here, taking a shortcut. You see her, Andrew?
Yes.
I don't normally follow hyenas, but she just looked like she was so after something. Just see where she goes here. Might have to go down and around. Watch your head, Andrew. So she may well have picked something up in the air, smelled something. Can you see her?
No,
to the left. Okay. So she is off to the left. Remarkable vehicles, these Land Rovers. Definitely worth just following through here. There she is, I can see her up front. Running again slightly. I think we're going to get stuck in here. Can we get through here, Andrew?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, that is a pity.
Over there.
You over there?
Yeah.
Is she moving? No, she stopped.
I can't see her now, but we'll just through there.
Okay. We'll just quickly turn around. try and extricate ourselves from here. She's heading back towards Gwarrie Dam. Hello Shelley in Edmonton, Alberta. I'm afraid we're going to have to get out of this way. We'll try and back round on the road. Shelley, you want to know why she's hunting alone? Very good question. The answer, Shelley, is that Shelley, hyenas like to forage alone, and then if they find something spectacular, they'll make a sort of whooping call, and that will attract the other hyenas to help them if they're on the hunt, or if they find maybe another predator on a kill. That's what they will do. But they often will start off on their own, just like that one is. And she's definitely smelt something. I don't know what it is. And unfortunately, she's a bit more nimble than us at getting around the bush. But, so we'll go out onto the road and see if we can't find her again. Not this way, we won't. Watch out, Andrew. Maxine in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. You're a little bit concerned about speed, and you say sometimes we look like we're going at a great lick along the road on our way to sightings. First of all, sometimes we do drive quite fast to get to sighting, but the speed limit is normally around 40 kilometers an hour, which is about 25 miles an hour. But there are very few roads where we can actually achieve that speed, because the roads are not very good. And so what you must remember is that what you're seeing actually looks a lot faster than it actually is. I think the picture makes it look hugely faster. When I look down at my little viewer monitor that I've got, and I can see the picture you're seeing, it always looks to me like we're speeding at a great speed, but when in actual fact we aren't. The roads simply are not good enough for us to drive fast. Yeah, I don't think we'll be lucky to see her again, I'm afraid, but we'll go around to the dam and see if she hasn't pitched up. Please keep an eye on the Gwarrie Dam cam. So she's apparently at Djuma Waterhole, so we'll hurry along there. Thank you very much for that, Zoomies. There's an Impala to my left, running at great speed. Went. Chris, one of our zoomies, reckons towards the lodge, which is in a northerly direction. Can't see her there. It's going to give... just going along the, probably running through the drainage line along that fence there. Okay, we'll go around the other side. She is going in the same direction that I saw those male lion tracks going. There might be something interesting going on there, so I think worth following up, and we'll head around on the road rather than trying to thrash through that area there. So to anybody who's watching anyone watching on the camera there, to the left of the camera, that camera basically faces due east. So to the left of the camera is north, and to the right of the camera is south. So you can see the risen sun in the camera, and that's basically where it's facing. Hello Edward, nice question. We often get this sort of question, especially with people who come out on safari here. You want to know, are any of the animals tagged or marked in this particular area? The answer is no, they aren't. They're all completely wild. We don't put, I mean, I suppose we could make this exercise a whole lot easier by darting them and putting in a GPS transponders, and then we could have them on tap. But I think that would take quite a lot of the authenticity out of it. So no, we don't do that. There are some reserves where they do quite a lot of research, and then they'll put a collar around some of the animals, which helps them to find them. But otherwise there's no tagging or marking, no. Some days it feels like that because they're so easy to find. And then days like this, when we've been driving around since 5:30 or 6 o'clock, seeing not much, makes you realize that they most certainly aren't. So there's been quite a lot of action at this little waterhole in the last few days, the Gallagher Waterhole. That's where we had the Nkahuma Pride. We've had some elephants there. And now the hyena heading in that direction. There's a wind coming from the north, so maybe she's picked up something on the wind, some piece of rotting flesh or the whoop of another hyena. I don't think that we follow hyenas quite enough. I think they'd lead us to quite a few exciting things if we could keep up with them. But as you can see, that is no mean feat. Just looking for tracks here and seeing if they haven't come through. There are some hyena tracks, but I don't think they're the fresh ones. Big game path that goes off just to my right as we come around the corner here. It goes off down there. Yeah. And it looks to me that the hyena has headed off straight down that game path. So we'll follow around slowly on the road. But I think the game might be up. So I think what we're going to do, we'll drive around and see if we can't pick the hyena up again. And while we're doing that, there's no need for you to watch the jumping picture. We'll send you across to Brent, and he can say hello to you and maybe give you something exciting that he's discovered. See you just now.
Good morning and welcome. My name's Brent and I've got Jeandre on camera with me, and I'm sure James has done the rest of the introductions. Sorry about all the gremlins. We're really sorry, and as you know, it was a electricity gremlin this morning, and we are having to run at a lower res than we normally would. So please bear with us, and thanks very much for staying. Those of you who have waited to come live. Just a quick update for what Jeandre and I have been doing. We've on the tracks of a female leopard, and I'm hoping she's in this block very close to us here. I'm just trying to find where she left the road. So very exciting. So those, if you are new, welcome. We are live, so you're seeing everything that I'm seeing in real time. We also are interactive, so you're able to ask us questions about what we're seeing in the African bush. You can do that by emailing us, and the email address is questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So let's get going and see if we can find this leopard. Sean from Edmonton in Alberta, Canada. Welcome on this sunrise safari. Sean would like to know, what is the best time of the year to go on an African safari? Well, Sean, that completely depends on what you're looking for. If you want to see the big hairies and scaries in profusion, the dry season is definitely the best. Also, if you have an aversion to incredible heat, the dry season is generally the best, and that's from May to August. For me personally, the best time of the year to go on safari is the end of October, beginning of November. October is quite often referred to as suicide month out here in Africa, though, because it is incredibly hot and incredibly dry, so there's a lot of dust, but it does make for some of the best game viewing. So I've just noticed there's a big herd of Impala there, and those leopard tracks seem to head in that general direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive on the edge of this clearing here. Maybe she's stalking, which will make her a little bit more difficult to find. I'm just going to drive slowly on the edge of the clearing and check into the bush here. A leopard, when stalking a herd of Impala, especially if it's come across that herd at this time of the day, it can sometimes take them the whole day, and they will slowly move and watch, and maybe wait for the Impala to come towards them. So what I'm looking for is just a slightly different shape in the bush, like just the round of the ears, flick of white from the tail. So Sean, to answer your question, the summer months are also wonderful. Everything's green and fresh, and there are lots of birds up as well. And if you're a birder, then the summer months are definitely the months to come on a safari. But for me, obviously that end of the dry season is my favorite, but I like being in the bush all year. I'm going to stop and listen for a second. sometimes it's amazing. The smallest little animal can give you a sign that there's a leopard around. Even a tiny little cesticula, which is a type of bird. For the moment, all the calls sound like they're just full of the joy of life. So let's go have a look at these impala and zebra. Morning, Safari. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. I wonder how many times I can say Safari. Safari, the rains generally, we might get a little bit of rain during the winter months, but very little. But the other thing is that normally sometime in November we'll have the first sort of big rain of the season. And then they last generally through as our summer months. So November, December, January, February, March, April sort of starts drying out a bit. Here we go. A nice group of impalas and some zebra. So it's been quite amazing how the zebra population on Djuma has increased as the dry season has come on. Hi Maven, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Maven said, aren't we worried about chasing away the prey that the predator might be hunting? Well Maven, if you have a look at these impala, and we've driven up to them now, they literally care very little about our presence. The animals in this reserve are so used to the game drive vehicles that they generally take almost zero notice of them. As you can see, the impala have been in the same place while we drove around the edge of the clearing, getting some warmth from the sun. And then off to the left of them is a nice herd of zebra as well. Hi, Tom from Amsterdam. Tom would like to know, following on from Sean's question, what time of the year are most of the young born? Well, Tom, with zebra, like we're looking at the moment, they can give birth at any time of the year, and that's the same with elephants. But certain species like warthog, wildebeest, impala, all give birth during the rainy season, and the first impala babies are generally just after the first rains, so sometime around the end of November and then throughout December, with a couple of odd late ones in January. But wildebeest and impala all give birth around that time, and warthogs. Hi, Anna Marie. Anna Marie would like to know whether the impala rutting season is over. Anna Marie, it is. It's closing now. There's still the odd male who's still confused and wanting to roar around fighting, but most of the mating and rutting will be over by now. Quite a serene setting here, and sometimes quite difficult to believe that death could be lurking around the next bush, and the leopard could be watching this little herd of impala and the zebra intently. Judging from the size of the tracks, they were quite small. It was a female, and I don't think she'd be watching the zebra too intently, but rather the impala. See, busy chewing the cud, ruminating. we're going to scoot on from this lot just to check another area in case that leopard didn't come towards these impala and made her way a little bit more to the sort of southwest. So let's get moving and hopefully let's have some luck. Got a magpie shrike. Just get on the right side of the light for it. Not a bad idea. It's just listen for a little bit longer around where these impala are. Magpie shrikes, even though they might not look it, they live in sort of little flocks. I can hear some others making some noise around, and can be very, very aggressive defending the area that they reside in, their home range, from other magpie shrikes. I know we've had some quite interesting and in-depth discussions about fork-tailed drongos' tails and the purpose of them a couple of drives ago. And now we have a very different type of tail and a very distinct type of tail. What do you guys think the reason is that a magpie shrike has such a long and pretty tail? So what do you guys think the reason is for the magpie shrike's tail to be like this, as opposed to aerodynamic or whatnot? Because it certainly doesn't aid in its flying. See if you guys can find something on that, and let me know by emailing us on questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So I think we'll leave the shrike to be. So we're just going to check very carefully that the leopard hasn't crossed this road. Hi Debbie, welcome on the Sunrise Safari, Debbie. Debbie would like to know, well, when the rainy season comes, are there covers for the safari vehicles? Well, Debbie, most of the vehicles will remain open. The commercial vehicles will have ponchos that they will give to their guests who are on safari with them to keep the rain. But generally when it does rain here, we don't rain for days and days. We quite often have thunderstorms and they can be over quite quickly. We do sometimes, but very unusually rain for 2 or 3 days. But generally no, we don't have any specific covers for the vehicles when it's raining. With the covers and whatnot over the vehicles, you wouldn't be able to see much. Unfortunately, from our point of view, with all our sensitive equipment that we have on these vehicles during the rainy season, when it does rain, and those of you who've been watching for a while will remember quite a few times. That we have to just sort of stop where we are and we take a big tarpaulin over us and we sit and wait till the rain's soft enough to move again. Or if we're very close to camp, we'll shoot to try and get the vehicles under cover. Julian from Wyoming. Julian says the lilac-breasted roll is such a Juliet, sorry. Lilac-breasted roll is such a beautiful bird, but we don't see them that often. Is that because they're seasonal? Juliet, no, in fact they are resident here throughout the year. It's just that sometimes we're not driving in the areas that they frequent. Would like to know whether male and female shrikes both have that long tail, and Doug is asking whether it is something to do with attracting a mate. Both male and female shrikes have that long tail, so now ponder a little bit further. If we think about it a little bit, long-tailed shrikes, both males and females, or long-tailed shrikes, they're all named magpie shrikes, is their new name. What have we got? Ah, well spotted, Jeandre. Another birdie. Oh no, bad birdie. It flew away. It was a brown snake eagle, unfortunately. It took off as we stopped. But both of those, both male and female have those long tails, so it's not like a peacock where only the male has that really expressive tail, so that is definitely designed to attract mates. Whereas with the long-tailed shrike, both sexes have that tail. So let's think a little bit further. Guys, just give me a second. I have to have a quick chat with a game drive vehicle, a morning meeting, so to speak. Well, how's it for? Ninjan? Morning. How's everyone this morning?
Fine.
Good. For any updates, my radio's actual.
And also my one. Horrible, eh?
On the safari and loot.
It was nothing safari.
Okay. Nkomo?
Is it? That's
Chalk van die pakkers.
Dit is kompe. Hofman. En die haala's en bamberen.
Okay.
Also, Ingwe, Arathusa private.
Okay. Nkomo? Loot north. Loot. Okay. Nkomo, have a good drive, guys.
Same to you.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm back with you now. Just having our quick morning meeting, figure out what animal's been moving where. So it sounds like it is a quiet morning around. So it doesn't sound like there's anything within our Traverse zone at the moment. but I'm so confident this female leopard is very close by. So while Jeandre and I try to pull her out of the bush by her tail, we're going to head you over to Commander Bond, see what he's been up to.
Down from trees. Hello everybody, welcome back to Jeandre. We've taken a gentle drive over to Buffelshoek Waterhole. Afraid we didn't come up with a hyena again. I think his tracks crossed north into Buffelshoek. There seems to be some action going on there. The Nkuhuma Pride is doing something across there. I can't quite copy on the mayhem that's going on the radio, so I've just turned it off. It's a bit better, I think. We're here at Buffelshoek Waterhole with the inimitable Bob, and I'm not sure how many of you were on drive about 2 nights ago when we came through here, and dear old Bob had found himself a girlfriend. Now, for those of you who are perhaps new, Bob is an acronym for Bachelor of Buffelshoek, and this hippo is someone with whom I have a certain sense of solidarity and his lonely celibacy. And the other night we found another hippo here, and I'm not sure on what happened to her or him, but the Bachelor of Buffelshoek is back on his own. Now I'm just going to be quiet for the next few seconds, and let's just see what we can hear. The cloud seems to have burnt off, so the atmosphere of the day is changing completely. White-browed scrub robins, a couple of hornbills in the background. That's a pied wagtail that you could hear going. There's a woodpecker that's just drilling gently for food behind us. And sounds like a squirrel that's perhaps scratching away in the tree above us. So the whole atmosphere of the day has kind of changed. And when we first saw you, it was quite cloudy, there was a bit of wind, and it felt quite sort of expectant and ominous almost. And that seems to have changed down to the more typical winter's mid-morning feeling of quiet and peace. Also a rattling stickler calling. Psst, psst, psst. Psst, 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 psst. There's definitely something scurrying about in this torchwood tree next to us, but I'm not sure what it is. Right, so that's Buffelshoek Waterhole.
I see it.
Can you see it? What is it?
He's sitting right here. Look on the screen.
Andrew spotted the squirrel. Oh, wow. I can just hear his teeth going. He's eating a torchwood seed. Oh, that's beautiful. And torchwood seed's supposed to have flammable oil in it. Last time I tried to light one, I just burnt my fingers. Oh, that's wonderful. Well spotted, Andrew. That is the tree squirrel, in case you were wondering. It's the only... Oh, dear. Dropped his little seed, dropped his breakfast. He was in a perfect little spot to have his breakfast and enjoy the morning sun there. So I'm not sure if you can feel how the atmosphere has changed, but as it does so, I'm certainly feeling a lot calmer. We're going to drive slowly down towards the south and see if we can't find any evidence of anything, really. There was a question about the most inedible tree here. Is there a tree that is the most inedible? And I thought about it, trying to think of something exotic. And actually, the most exotic thing that I can think of here, you actually all know, or a lot of you know. And that's from Edward, that question. Edward, I'm willing to bet, if you're the same Edward who we've been hearing from, that you've watched enough of this to actually know. So there's a tree here that very few animals will touch. Very few herbivores. And we've mentioned it, it's quite common. It stays down in drainage line areas quite often. It's an evergreen. And your major clue is that animals like cats like to mark their territory on it. And as soon as I find one, they're very common around here. As soon as I find one, I'll show you. There we go. Andrew, it is this green tree to our right-hand side. Yes, you've spotted it already. Masterful camera work. So, Edward, it is in fact the magic gwarrie. Now, if you look at the leaves, bar the odd spot where a herbivorous insect has taken a bite or two, they're almost entirely intact. There are very few trees that you can show this level of intactness about. And if you look at the actual bush, I mean, there's a scraggly thing in front of it that you can see, which is kind of obscuring the view. But the bush itself shows no evidence of damage from things like elephants. So many of the other trees around here look like they've been damaged by elephants and they've been browsed and leaves have been taken. But the gwarries tend to just grow unmolested. And we'll just taste one. I've done this before, but they're very they completely dry out the mouth. So it doesn't taste too much like tannin, which tends to do the same thing. I'm sure there's an element of tannin in it, but there's some form of chemical that animals just don't like. And it's interesting because they grow in sodic areas. They grow in soil that is normally quite rich in nutrients. And from those nutrients, this plant clearly makes some kind of chemical that is either slightly toxic to animals or it just tastes bad and they don't like it. So that's it, Edward, the magic gwarrie or Euclea divinorum. There are a few other herbs and things that are a lot more aromatic, but I've seen elephants taking some of those things. There's the tamboti tree, which is very toxic to humans. In fact, it can actually kill us. But elephants will eat that, and so will black rhino, so will kudu. So I think this is the best example of a tree that not much will eat, including me. Might have to find some Sisyphus just to cleanse my palate slightly. So this one here you can see quite the opposite. If you look around this, can you just film this little patch here, Andrew? You can see that it's been far more heavily molested by insects. You can see where they've been biting the leaves. It's been browsed by giraffe probably. You can see the ends if we move away, when we move away from the bush, we'll show you. The ends of the branches are all almost free of leaves. Now that's got something to do with the autumn and the winter, but also to do with the fact that they get browsed very heavily. And I'm going to eat one of these. And this is actually if you are desperate for salad or spinach, this is a pretty good substitute. It doesn't have any of those properties of drying out the mouth. It's not very tasty, I won't lie to you, but very inoffensive to eat. Whereas that gwarrie was really disgusting. And did you want one?
No, thank you.
You sure? Go on. You've got to share with Andrew, otherwise he gets a little upset. He didn't really mean no. So if you look at this tree, and if we can just get the sort of one on the right there, you can see how it has. Look, some of that lack of leaves has to do with the season, but a lot of it has got to do with the fact that it's been very heavily browsed by a giraffe, probably mainly up there, and also elephants will like to eat Ziziphus mucrinata, the buffalo thorn. Might have a few more of those.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad, eh?
Not bad at all.
Certainly better than anything I can cook. So it still remains very quiet in the way of animals, or mammals, should I say. We did find a nice vulture for you, but he unfortunately flew off. Me old pal Brent has managed to find you some zebra, so we'll go back across to him, and I will continue the search.
Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we found some more striped donkeys. Nice little group of zebra out in front of the Arathusa waterhole, and we've come here specifically to look for a couple of things, and the zebra just happened to be an added bonus. So always great as it warms up on these cold winter mornings, is we get to see one of the slightly overweight members of the animal family out here, and we get to see them out of the water. So we're going to sneak up towards a hole. I'm not going to use the collective noun, because you're going to have to tell me what is the collective noun for a group of hippos, the old colonial collective noun for a group of hippopotamus. You can see some of them have decided it's cold enough to wear a blanket. And there's two little guys also out, and you can see they're hiding on the side of the island with Arathusa lodge in the background. So here we go. There's a little nursery group, so there's 3 different ages there. The smallest one there, I'm going to guess, probably 5-6 months old. The one in front maybe closer to a year. The one at the back probably 2 or 3 years old. Maybe even a little bit older, the one at the back. And there's just standing there enjoying the early morning sun. Look at that, it looks like he's fast asleep with his head on the ground resting. And then another one assumed the sleeping position. You can see that, look, very comfortable, and a lot of that water, aquatic plants that has come out of the water with them. Look how sweet that little one is, just popping its head on the other. what I am going to try to do is roll it. So we're being very sneaky. Not sneaky enough for the little guy, it seems. He's watching us intently. The others are not paying too much attention. And we'll wait here. Oh, oxpeckers flying in. Shop. There's a little blacksmith lapwing in front there. Well done, Marlene and Curious One. It is a raft of hippos. And we have off to the right. Oh, don't worry, they've disappeared. We've got some African Jicanas. You can hear them making the noises there. Fly by. And if we come out just on the edge of the water here, next to the pile of elephant dung, there's an African. There we go. There's a African Jicana just feeding on the edge, and just off to the right of it as well as a little three-banded plover. And as that African Jicana lifts up its feet, you can see it's got a very, very wide sort of foot, and that is a lily. That's for walking on water lilies and other aquatic vegetation. And you can see how wide its feet are.
Sorry, I seem to have lost my internet connection.
Sorry about that. I was trying to find the Jicana's call and I pushed the wrong button. So here we go. That's an African Jicana's call. Not a very pretty call, but a very pretty bird. So quite interesting about a Jicana. Oh, just to have a quick look, it looks like the hippos might go into the water. There just looks like a bit of movement there from the hippos. One of them looks like she's about to pop into the water, and that looks like that's the mother of the little one, because following very closely. I always wonder, I've never seen a crocodile in this dam, but I'm convinced there must be one. Decided enough basking, time to go back into the water. Some are still basking away. I'm just going to try to roll forward again a little bit to try to get a little bit closer to these Jicanas. Here we go. background. And as I was saying, quite an interesting bird species. They have a very unique sort of parental system compared to a lot of other animals and birds. A female jacana will mate with multiple male jacana and then lay the eggs in a nest built by the male, and then she will disappear and go mate with another male. And the reason they do this is obviously to help. Oh, sorry, they're just flying all around us at the moment. I'm just trying to keep an eye on where they're landing. The reason they do this is to try help make sure that they've got as best chance of their chicks surviving. So the males take on all parental care. So they will sit on the nest. When the chicks hatch, they will look after the chicks till they're fledged. And in the summer months, if you look carefully, quite often you'll see a male jacana with his wings like this, and he can often have 3 or 4 little jacanas under his wing. So one of the more unusual sort of parental species. Oh, and the hippos are on the move again. Oh, and the zebra have come down to drink. Well spotted, Jeandre. Hi Colleen, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Nice to have you on the back of the vehicle with us. Colleen would like to know, is it common to have this many zebra around at this time of the year? Well, Colleen, unfortunately I can't state anything with a great expertise. I've only been in the Northern Sabi Sands for 3 months, a little bit longer than that. So I think it is possible. It does look like they do move into these areas in the dry season, and during the summer months they might spread out down to further south where there's bigger open grasslands. But I can't be 100% sure. What I will do is I'll ask some of the guides who've been here for quite a long time, and maybe they can let me know. Hopefully I'll be able to get back to you, Colleen, on the Sunset Safari. Hello, hippos. And more zebra coming down. I'm just supposed to see if we can sneak a bit closer to them. Let's wait for that. Hippopotamus. With a lot of animals, when they come down to the water to drink, they can be a bit nervous. So the first set of zebra have finished drinking and the others are going down, but if I had to approach directly along them, they might get a fright and stop drinking. That's why I've moved up above, is to try and not pose a threat to them. I'm going to stop here and just get a safety shot from a bit of a distance so as not to disturb them. I'm sure they could have traveled quite a distance to get to the water. Just let them settle a little bit and then we'll try and move a bit closer. But also they won't drink for too long before moving off. It is a time of vulnerability for a lot of animals due to the fact that their heads are down, so there's potential danger from the bush behind them, and secondly because there could be a monster crocodile lurking in the water. So they're generally at a hyper alert at these stages. Sneak a little bit closer. see how their skin sort of almost shimmers, that little reaction, and it's a adaptation to try keep flies off them. So just that little movement can help keep flies off their bodies. And look, there's an impala who's also decided to join in the drinking. I'm always checking for that female that we saw a while ago who escaped the lions and had a very distinct open wound. I'm just trying to remember, it was on her left cheek. But I haven't seen her again yet. But actually just off to the right space here, we've got a pair of Egyptian geese feeding. So quite a lot of stuff happening around here at the Arathusa Waterhole. So I was saying, a friend of mine, and some of you have watched quite a few times, and regular viewers will know about this, but a friend of mine couldn't say Egyptian when they were little, but they did realize it had something to do with Egypt. So whenever they saw these, they called them pyramid ducks. Some more animals on their way down. There's some waterbuck coming, but before they arrive, we're just going to have a quick little chat about that magpie or long-tailed shrike we saw a little bit earlier, and more to do with the tail. Well done to everyone. There were a couple of different reasons, and I was just trying to get you to go a little bit more in depth than usual. So it does play a part in the mating displays, and it is definitely there, but that is a secondary function almost. It's used in defensive displays. I said they're very aggressive and they fight. So to try avoid those fighting between the groups, it's almost another version of the Nyala-like competition to have a pretty off, or who looks more impressive and who looks bigger. And the other reason, just hang on, there's an alarm call there. I think that grey go-away bird was confused because the other animals don't look too stressed. And it does also play a part in how they fly. So apparently it helps with them when they're dropping with altitude to slow down so they can land in difficult spots. So I hope that was a bit of fun, and you guys did really well. Everyone had different answers, and I'm glad you guys managed to get through to some of the correct answers in the end. Let's just go have a look at these waterbuck. Nice little family group. I don't see any males yet. Not to say they aren't around. Oh, there's a really cute little one. Let me just go a bit forward. go. And they look like they've probably been in this area. They'd like to hang around bodies of water, as their name described. Waterbuck. They always look like they've sat on a freshly painted toilet seat. And that white ring on their bottom. Guys, thanks very much for staying with us and waiting for the gremlins to be sorted out. And we really, really do appreciate all your questions and getting involved in the discussions about what we're seeing out here in the bush. And it is an absolute privilege and a pleasure to be able to take you guys on a safari every day. And for the new viewers, welcome. For the old viewers, always great to have you with us. And we've now got a nice little group of waterbuck to say goodbye with. And we're going to be meandering on. Hopefully we can get everything in tip-top shape before the sunset safari. And we will be looking forward to you joining us on that. Have a wonderful day or morning wherever you are in the world, and we will see you on the sunset safari. It's been great being with you, and we're going to hand you over to Commander Bond for the last few minutes.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Jiga. We had a wonderful shot of a drongo there in the tree, and they're always a bit of a lottery because they tend to fly off as you think you're going to get them. I just wanted to weigh in slightly on that discussion around the bird's tails and the long-tailed shrike, because it's very interesting. So we've established pretty much that these drongos have got their forked tails for maneuverability because they're hawking insects out of the air. And they're able to spread them out when they need to stop suddenly and then bring them in again. And the square-tailed drongo can almost do the same thing in flight. But what's interesting is that apparently one of the theories that was there for the long-tailed shrike and why they have long tails was for attraction of mates. Now, I don't buy that at all, because if both male and female have them, it doesn't necessarily make sense. In just about all, if you think of a peacock, the most obvious example of a tail that is purely there to attract a mate, it's only the male that has it. So in non-sexually dimorphic birds, it's unlikely that the morphology or the build and look and color has anything to do with sexual attraction. It's probably got much more to do with the song and maybe nest building or territory or something like that. So I'm not going to buy that one. Is it something to do with flying? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, that seems like a pretty inefficient way to fly to me. And the other thought was perhaps to make it look slightly bigger. Yeah, maybe. But definitely not the first one, I don't think. I don't think that it is that one. Anyway, there are a couple of mongoose now just coming across the path here. And those drongo that we saw at the beginning of our little segment here are following the mongoose. They often will mimic a mongooses alarm call, which is quite amusing. And they were doing it just now. Unfortunately, because there's the mongoose that's just... Mongoose is just coming across the... There we go. Mongoose and drongo in one shot. That's high action for you on a day like this. There we go. And they tend to be sort of partners. They'll walk around and eat similar things, and the drongos will alarm, help the mongoose as an early warning system, and the mongoose will, by way of payment, kick up the odd invertebrate that the drongos will swoop down and grab. It's not that usual to see them on the ground at this time of the day. I've often seen them on the ground just at the last light, and they tend to sit on the ground and call. I've not seen them doing this during the middle of the day, which is quite interesting, and I'm sure it's got something to do with the cold and perhaps because it's still quite chilly. It's not as warm as it would normally be at this time of the day. So, everybody, thank you so much for your patience, and for those of you who hung around, wherever you happen to be in the world, In Hawaii, we have Rick and Susie. As far as I know, there are only Hawaii viewers. If there are others, please send them to us. I think it's your evening yesterday. I think you're still on Friday. I'm still looking for your lilac-breasted roll of feathers. But thank you to everybody else who's been so kind and patient with waiting for our satellite troubles. We are still working on the problems, and hopefully we'll have the high definition back up by this afternoon. Thanks to Tara and Eugene and Vilm in the technical department. Thanks to Brent and it's Jeandre on his car today. And thank you, of course, to Freddie Mercury, a.k.a. Andrew, on the back of this car. We will see you this afternoon. Thank you for your comments and questions. It's been a chilly morning, and hopefully it'll be a slightly warmer afternoon with lots of animals. See you later.